And here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of Soul to Soul Conversations. We missed you guys last week. I was out due to family funeral and memorial services, and we're back now and back in the flow. Um, and ignore that. We're back in the flow. I am Joy Ross, and over here is my buddy.
Ame-Lia Tamburrini. Oh, so good to be back with you here, Joy. And yeah, yeah, this is such a delight for my week. I missed you last week, but definitely had you in my heart.
Thank you. I love these weeks. I missed you last week and being here as well. And um, I just love what we're doing every week on these, Ame-Lia, where we just show up and talk about whatever's on our heart, on our minds each week and try to have open conversations in a way that we're not filtering ourselves, we're not tiptoeing around sensitive topics. We're just really coming from the heart, coming from the soul, and really trying to just be true to our authentic selves and with no shame, no criticism, no judgment, or any of those things that too often are present uh, in society. And so I just love what we're doing here. And I'm excited to see where this conversation goes today because you guys, like always, we don't pre-plan. This is not scripted conversation here. It's just real raw in the moment. And we just flow in the moment with whatever comes up. So Ame-Lia, what are we? Well, wait, shall we invite the audience? Hey, you guys, most of you listen and watch on replay. So engage with us. Let us know as we're moving forward in this conversation what comes up for you and what thoughts you have on whatever it is that we're going to be talking about today. What are we talking about today, Ame-Lia? What's on your heart? What's on your mind?
Well, I think kind of what we do here is on my mind, which is going with the flow.
Mm.
And I feel like, based on our little pre chat that we had before we went live today, that this is really relevant and present for both of us right now in our lives. And I have come to know that when something is present in my life, it's present in other people's lives. And that is an opportunity to speak from your heart, to have the courage to just share what is happening for you. And when we do that, it can be so healing for other people who are sitting there in silence, having an experience, but not having the people around them to hear them, listen to them. And so I feel like, because both you and I are in this season of being really conscious of the fact that we are making choices in our life with a lot of trust, a lot of faith, and making choices in our life to show up in the way that we want to, that is also what other folks are going through right now as well.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, can I just share that what I'm going through right now, and I'm sure I'm looking maybe shifty-eyed or whatever, is literally in my environment. I have two screens, and so I'm like, I feel in a little ADD right now because I'm like, oh, where do I? Oh, there's us up there on the big screen, and then there's us on this little smaller laptop screen, and just lights that are hurting my eyes. So that's just me explaining if I'm like all over the place. That's why today. So that's what I'm dealing with physically. Um, that touched me, what you said about particularly if you're going through and dealing with something, somebody else is too. That's such a good reminder. I believe that too. And that just like shifted something in me that said, okay, so open up and let it, whatever the it is that's going to bubble up, let it come up and out, because somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to know that they're not crazy. Somebody needs to know that it's not just them. Somebody needs to know that, oh, okay, I'm not alone. There are others going through this, right? So, and I believe too, Ame-Lia, that there are many people like us who have made a choice for themselves on how they want to show up, and they've decided that they want to be authentic, that they want to be in integrity, in their decision making, that they want to have an impact on other people that's positive, that they want to be aligned with whatever they believe and know to be their purpose, right? Even if it's, oh, I want to be aligned with finding out what is my purpose, right? So I've got an initial thought on that, and just my own experience is that's an everyday process. It's an um, every day there are little moments, little opportunities that test that. Little things that come up that are choice points, like, hey, who are you going to be really? Are you going to be in integrity? That's who you say you want to be, but are you going to be that right now? Are you going to speak your truth, or muzzle yourself? So little choices. That's how that shows up for me.
Yeah, I can relate to that, and I definitely relate to what you said about it. It's like every day, it's ongoing, every single moment. Even I was thinking about this when I woke up this morning, and I didn't get the length of sleep that I wanted, and so I woke up a little bit tired. Also slept a little bit longer, so I was a bit rushed for what I had going on in the morning, which I don't love. I love a chill morning. Oh gosh, we just got things going off all over the place today. um, and I thought to myself, Ame-Lia, you talk a lot about when you're coaching leaders and bringing change makers together and really helping people to get conscious about how they are showing up, and that we are responsible for actually creating the world that we want to live in. And so my brain this morning was going to wanting to be grumpy about not getting enough sleep and feeling panicked about all the things I now had to do, and also disgruntled about not having my chill, relaxed morning, which I find that time just so sacred. And I thought, okay, well, yeah, you could do all that. Or you can show up in a different way, which is closer to your integrity, which is closer to what it is that you share with the world. And that is to stop in this moment and take a few deep breaths and get really present with your body and tap into God and express your gratitude in this moment for this day, for the way it has begun, for the fact that it has begun. And I gave thanks to my body. I had this weird moment, like I just swung my legs out of bed, which I do, and then I go to the bathroom. that's the morning, the first thing. And I was like, wow, I could just swing my legs out of bed and stand up and go to the bathroom. And many people cannot do that. And it almost brought me to tears. I was like, Yeah. And then all of a sudden, my day became sacred. And it was no longer about all the little things that could have easily taken me away from being here in this moment right now. So that's just one really small example of how it
Mhm.
is we can make a choice to show up in our day. And that happened to me this morning.
I love the simplicity of that example. And um, it brought up a couple things for me. And one is listening to you, I thought, while that sounded simple, and I wondered, ooh, how many minutes, how many seconds, or how many minutes went by in that interim period between you making the decision you did and being aware that, oh, wait, there's this stuff going on, and I could either do this or either do that. And I think the choice that you made, it seems to me, you say, for yourself, but it was easier for you to make that choice because it's something that you've been practicing and being intentional about for a very long time.
Yeah. I would say that that is true. And it did happen. It was like seconds went by, right? Where that all took place. That in the past could have been a half a day or
Mhm.
maybe the whole day. And I would have gone to
Mhm.
bed. But I think about what you're just sharing right now a lot in conversation when I'm in relationship with folks. And there's that tendency to want to be impatient or um, want people to be a different way and being frustrated or trying just, all the ways that we are as humans. And about 10 years ago, I got really clear that I wanted to be a certain way in the world and bring more peace, more love, more connection. And the journey was so painful at first because I realized that all of that was on me. It wasn't on the other people in my life to actually change and make me more comfortable. It was on me to show up as I wanted to be. And so that's an ongoing journey. Um,
Mhm.
but I can say that today it's just so much easier for me in the moment when I could feel my body wanting to get tense and argumentative or defensive, that there's a pause there. And in that pause, there's a choice. But that didn't
Mhm.
used to be there. And so if anybody is out there listening, being like, I have no idea how to create that pause, or that is just not me, that'll never happen, whatever. I was there.
Mhm.
And things can change if you really want them to, and you commit to doing the work because it does take a commitment, and it's
Mhm.
not easy. But when we have support, like this woman right here, Joy Ross, who is amazing for me to ground me back in my love, my commitment, to how I want to be in the world, that makes all the difference in the world. So I
Mhm.
said a whole bunch of things there, but I just love what you said about it's a choice.
Yeah, and it's a journey. And I thank you for sharing all of that and the process and the point about this is a choice that you made, a commitment to yourself that you made 10 years ago, right? And that's been my experience too. Like I think um gosh, for me maybe like maybe 15 or 20 years ago too, I really made some was doing a lot of inner reflection and looking at my own life and looking at uh, where I was and how decisions had led to certain points, and then made a lot of choices about, okay, well, I know where this road leads because I've walked it. I know what these types of decisions lead to because I've done it. Great. Happy for those experiences. And moving forward, I'm going to choose this instead over here, or this instead over here, right? I find, like you, that those choice points still come. I am still, 15, 20 years into a journey of being very intentional about who I want to be, how I want to show up, who I am on the inside, and getting more and more comfortable with that every day. Like, even that is an ongoing journey. It's been my experience. Even in that, though, some days are better than others. Some days it's really challenging. Like, life presents situations that make it difficult to stand, and stay rooted in those decisions, right? I think the difference for me at this point, though, is it's easier for me to quickly identify and see, ah, this is what's going on. Whereas in the past, it would maybe things weren't as clear. And so I would find myself reacting. And then after the fact, looking back, reviewing the situation and saying, oh, and having my ahas on the back end.
Mm.
Sort of like, ooh, lesson learned. Whereas now it's more in the moment. I'm able to see, ooh, hold on. I know what this is. This is one of those choice points. And then I can more quickly, um, decide, how do I want to be? And I don't always choose to be that person that I'm saying I want to be, because sometimes, quite honestly, it's like, yeah, but I'm just going to go ahead and, share some of this raw emotion. Not that it's always the right thing to do, but that's just me and my imperfection, which I've got my happy, perfect person cup today. But I share with you, Ame-Lia, a very practical way to bring this vague, I feel like I'm speaking in vagaries,
Mm.
down to a specific. So, like today, this morning, I had one of those choice points in my professional life as well as my personal life. I pride myself on really leading with integrity. That's really important to me. Tell people, um, live up to, do what you say you're going to do, and speak your truth, which is not an easy thing to do in business, because sometimes it's easier to go the road of, oh, tell customers what you think they want to hear,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we can think that if we do that, it's going to work out better for us. But I've been in business way too long to be tricked by that, right? Because the truth is, if you're in consulting like I am, customers hiring you, they're hiring you because they want to get to a certain place that they perceive you can help them get there, or they don't necessarily know how to get there, or they don't have the staff, for whatever reason. They're seeking your services to help them achieve something. So I'm like, ooh, I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to tell customers, if it seems to me like, what you're saying you want to do is not going to get you to the outcome you think, I'm going to say that, right? If I really believe, oh, what you really need doesn't seem like we're the best fit for that, but here's what we can do, I'm going to say that, right? Even if it means not doing as much work for them. So I had one of those situations this morning where I was talking to a client, and I knew that they wanted to hire, for us to help them, work on a proposal or whatever. But given the circumstances, and for various reasons that I won't bore people with right now, what I really believed, based on my years of experience in this, was there was no way, there was no way for, there was no way that to create a winning proposal for them, given the circumstances, including not knowing the in-depth ins and outs of their business and what they do, and for a variety of other reasons. And so I shared that, knowing that in my sharing that, the end result could have been I'm walking away from money, walking away from a sale. There are people out there who might hear this and think, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy! Like, why would you ever do that?" Why I would do that and why I did do that is because money is not my number one motivator. Um, Doing excellent service and being in integrity and treating customers the way that I would want to be treated is what's most important. And that's been the thing that's won us repeat business over and over and over and over for almost 2 decades, right? And today was no different because I could have responded differently, but because I think he saw, like, oh, she's not even all about the money. And she's actually telling me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Um, he respected that. And we probably will move forward, but not in the way that he thought, but in the way that I proposed, because really, in this case, that is the better option for him, even though he wasn't thinking that way before we talked.
Right.
But that took courage. It took me in the moment making that, like, literally in a matter of seconds, realizing, ooh, wait, this is one of those situations where it's a choice point. And how am I going to show up right now in this moment with this person that I know could potentially be a very lucrative client? Am I going to be blinded by that? Or am I going to be authentic and true to me and trust that whether we sign a deal today or not, God's got me. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm going to be okay. I'm not so desperate for the right now that I'm willing to put all of my values and principles and beliefs on the sideline. That's not how I want to show up. I said a whole lot of something, but it may not have come out as clear verbally.
I think it did. I got you. I mean, I definitely heard the being in your integrity is important, and you make choices from that place. What I also heard, though, is what guides you, and also what can guide any of us, regardless of, I mean, you're talking about a very specific, where financial consequences are in the mix because it's part of your business, and that maybe someone's like, well, that's nice for you to say because you got maybe some money that you're sitting on that you can make those choices. Mm-hmm. And what all the spiritual texts say, and what I have known to be true for myself as well, is that when we make decisions based on being of service, which is what I'm hearing at the core of your story, mm-hmm. that it all works out for everybody in the long run. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about this, framing it in a job or a business interaction circumstance right now. But this is for every relationship that I have found, and this is where I've definitely fallen down in the past, where I have made decisions, or I have kept my voice hidden, thinking I was being in service to the relationship or to the other person. But really what I was in service to was my own ego, or to keeping the water calm and not ruffling feathers, keeping myself, quote unquote, safe in environments where safety really wasn't an issue. And that never worked out well for anybody.
Mm.
But at the core, I'm thinking about it in this moment, based on what you just shared, is that I really wasn't being of service to the relationship, to myself, to the other person,
Mm-hmm.
and trusting that if I align myself with that and take the actions, that everything would work out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you did with your client, the potential client, because it was really about being of service to him. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you spoke
Mm-hmm.
your truth, and that serves everybody, and will likely serve you as well at the end of the day, whether
Mm-hmm.
financially or reputational wise or whatever it is for your business.
Yeah, I think about, and you said this at the beginning about showing up authentically, and hearing you repeat that all back to me in terms of what you took away from my experience, it really rings true for me in the moment. Is all of this really is about being authentic. And so being authentic really is about in the moment. So in my example, that was one small little like business example. But to your point, even in personal relationships, in any setting, really, we have those moments where we're presented. I say presented with an invitation because that's how I see it. Um, like if we were in a movie and you have those little thought bubbles or the little clouds or whatever, it's like, here's a, some little graphic comes across the screen that only the viewers can see. And it's like a little invitation. It's like, are you going to open that? And inside of that invitation is, here are two roads. This is what you said you wanted. This is who you said you wanted to be. So you can choose that right now. Or here's this other path. You choose. Clock's ticking, right? And so in relationships, whether it's friendship or family, romantic, whatever, a lot of times I think that shows up in a situation where we're in conversation, something has come up that the other person has said in that moment, and there's that choice point. Am I going to, in this moment, really express how I feel? Or somebody's asking me, hey, what do you think? Am I really going to vulnerably, be vulnerable and share my heart? Am I going to say the thing that I really want to say, but I know that they think differently, which means, ooh, what are they going to think about me? Will they get mad at me? Will they still like me? Am I going to choose to go out there on that limb anyway? Or, you know, shut it down, keep quiet. And I think in those moments, for most of us, we're not thinking that deeply. We're not actually in those moments, probably saying, ooh, here's what's happening, and I've got these choices. But that's exactly what's happening. And I think the more, it's like one of those muscles, the more it takes courage. Yes, it is scary. I think always there's a little bit of, oh, you know, but the more we choose to just, yeah, I'm going to do it. It's like that first time is probably the hardest, but the more we choose to show up authentically, whatever that looks like, and always in love. So there's a way, right? Even to say something that might be a little controversial or the other person may not agree with, or you're speaking your truth and it may not be something that the other person wants to hear. There's a way to speak with grace and kindness, and still be honest.
Yeah,
And
I think that's so key, because that shapes the energy of the words that come out of your mouth. You can say the same words from an energy of judgment and wanting to change somebody, and you can say the same words out of an energy of love and care and deep compassion, and they will land completely differently and create two different results. So I think that's really important. I just want to check in with who's watching right now, and what are the situations that are coming up from you? As Joy and I are talking, sharing some stories and these moments, these choice moments in our life, what are those choice moments for you that you're present to? Maybe you just had a conversation and you're thinking, oh yeah, like I was just, trying to keep the waters calm versus courageously saying what was truly in my heart. And there's no judgment. I just want to say, whatever choice you make is the perfect choice in that moment. We're all here learning, we're all here experimenting and evolving at our own pace. And sometimes I find this for myself, anyways, that when I just don't have the energy, that I do sometimes just make the choice to not say the thing. There's discernment in this whole journey as well, which you just learn with experience. So what is coming up for you? What's present for you? Yeah, we'd love to hear in the chat, and we will certainly be interacting and supporting in the way that we can.
Yes. And where do you struggle? Because again, I know we both have indicated that we do, right? It's not that, oh, now that we know this stuff, we show up perfectly and we make the perfect choices each time these little invitations appear. No, it's not that either. So, where do you struggle? Is it especially back to my business, back to my business idea too. I think what's real for many of us, if we're honest, if not most of us, and maybe all of us, because I think that regardless of how much money you actually have, money is a relative thing. And so regardless of what we have, there's probably a little bit of us, if not a lot of us, who feels that, oh, well, I want more. So I think money is one of those areas, whether it's on the job and it's a matter of, am I on the brink of a promotion? And so like money is at play here, or whether you are in business for yourself and it's a matter of, money is at play because this is a potential client or a potential expansion of an existing project or whatever it is. Or maybe you're going in an interview situation and there's a potential job. And again, money is at play. For me, I found, and you mentioned God earlier, Ame-Lia, for me, whenever money is at play, I found that it's really an invitation also to choose faith, to really stand firm in my faith in God, that everything good that comes to me, including money, is ultimately from Him. Do I really believe that? Or am I trusting in something else, in which case I might be swayed toward, let me secure the bag, as they say, right? Let me secure the money. Let me do what I need to do in this moment to get the job. Let me do what I need to do in this moment to secure the deal, even if it's contrary, even if it's out of integrity, right? For me. So I think that's a big one that a lot of us struggle with. And for me, it's rooted in, oh my gosh, I'm being given an opportunity to act on my faith. Not just say that I have it, but to actually operate in faith in this moment. I'm going to trust God and do what's in integrity, even if there's a possibility that, something might not go my way monetarily. That's a hard one.
Mm-hmm. I like it because it ultimately uncovers your beliefs. So like we have thoughts in our head and those thoughts determine how we take action. But underneath the thoughts, it's our beliefs. So if we're thinking scarcity, if we're thinking I'm not going to be taken care of, if we're thinking, oh, this is the only way for me to make money, I must say yes. What is the belief behind that? There's a belief that you're not fully taken care of by the divine, that you're not fully supported at all times. And so what you're doing in that moment, what I'm hearing is that you're challenging yourself to be like, well, what do I really believe in? And if I believe that, then what are the thoughts associated with that? And then what are the actions that are in alignment with that? And that's really the journey of life. Like we're always creating at every given moment. And so it's like you said, an opportunity to really pause and be in choice about how we want to be in the world and what we want to create for ourselves and others. So,
yeah. And thank God for
I think we should do a money conversation separately to this, because I think it's huge right now in our society. So many people are in money shortages, and physically, like that's what the appearance is. And I think it's on a lot of people's minds. So I would love to dive into that with you maybe next week when we gather again.
I would too. Let's do it. Because money, you're absolutely right. It's a big topic. It's on people's minds. It is a thing. And I love it for us because money is also one of those topics that in many circles, don't talk about money. So for that reason, if nothing else, let's absolutely talk about money. No, we're going to be talking about money. Let's do it next week. Maybe we'll do it for 2 weeks because it's a big topic.
It's huge. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
All right, are you in, listener? I hope you are. We'll be here. So please share with us what's come up for you during this conversation, where you're struggling, what you want to dive into more, because we want to go to where you want to talk to, because so much of this circle is about creating the space for you to be in the conversations that aren't happening out in the world. We want to bring these conversations to you so you can find freedom, empowerment, and more joy in your life. Ultimately, that's what all of this is about.
Yes, more joy in your life.
More joy, Ross. That's always a good thing. All right,
guys. I think that's a wrap for today, right?
That's a wrap.
All right, we're talking about money, all things money next week. So stay tuned and come for that. And let us know. Maybe let us know if there are specific things you want us to delve into as we are talking about money.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All
All right.
Until next